So, is it legal to register an LLC for the purpose of conducting your personal affairs through a business with no operating activity? No, of course not. That is silly. Like, it is entirely possible you could register an LLC to operate a business that doesn't make any money for a year or 2 or 3. But at some point, if you're not making any money, the IRS is going to deem that business to be a hobby, and you're not going to be able to write off the expenses from it anymore. Obviously, that's pretty anecdotal. Like, I know somebody that does this thing, but to be honest, it's probably pretty common. I'm sure there's people out there that register LLCs and claim they have some type of business, maybe some side hustle they do on the side, and all they really want to do is to be able to write off everything they do as a business expense. For example, I've got this side hustle buying and selling things on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to go, air quote, meet my business associate for coffee at Starbucks. So let's call that a business meeting and write off my $6 coffee at Starbucks as a business expense. And by the way, I drove there, so I'm going to write off the miles for driving to Starbucks to meet my business associate for my business meeting at Starbucks. Do people do that? Absolutely. But if you do that for too long with no reported income, the IRS will just deem that to be a hobby and they'll just disallow it. And you run the risk that the IRS can claw it back and make you restate it for the past 3 years or something like that as well.
Is there a specific period of time that they'll look at and go, like, is it 1 year, is it 3 years of no income where suddenly there's a red flag, or is it kind of random?
It's really going to be up to the IRS auditor that you're meeting with. That auditor could very well say, hey, he hadn't made any money in 3 years, let's go after him. And then the next one could say, let's let this one go 2 more years. It's pretty subjective there. I'm sure it also has a lot to do with business type. Certain businesses require huge upfront investment, so it takes longer to get into the black on your P&L, whereas you start like a local service-based business, for example, like mowing yards. You should be profitable pretty much from day one mowing yards because it's pretty low upfront startup to get going. But if you've got to build a software platform and it takes you millions of dollars to build it out, it might take you 3, 4, 5 years to get into the profit.
The summary is that it's illegal unless you're actually operating a real business and it's going to make money.
Correct.
Yep.